Hey guys, I'm back with another crochet tutorial, and in this video I'm going to show you how I made this V-neck tank top. I love the way it came out, I love the fit and how the back is adjustable. So in this video I'll be making a size small, but I also made a written pattern that has 4 sizes: small, medium, large, and extra large. And this is available for you guys to buy on my website at amandalovesantos.com. So if you guys would prefer to follow along using the written pattern with all the sizes, go check that out. And also really quickly, I'm looking for pattern testers, so if you'd like to test upcoming patterns for me, then I will leave a link in the description for you guys to sign up. And as always, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I do try to get back to everybody. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more DIYs. And now let's get into this tutorial. Alright, so we're going to start off by crocheting 42 chains. 5, 6, 8. Once we get to 42 chains, we're going to go back 4 chains, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to double crochet into this chain. Just like that. And then we're going to continue to double crochet with all of the chains. Now in this last chain, we're going to double crochet 3 times. After that, we're going to crochet 1 chain, and then we're going to double crochet into that same last chain 3 more times. So it's once, starts to get a little tight, but you will have room. So as you can see, that turned us around. So just to review, there's 3 double crochets, a chain, and then 3 more double crochets. And then we're just going to double crochet as we normally would all the way until the end of the row. Alright, now when you get to the end of the row, you're going to start a new row by crocheting 3 chains, turning the work over, and then double crocheting into the next stitch. And we're just going to continue to double crochet all throughout this row. Okay. Once you get to that chain from the previous row that separated the double crochets, you're actually going to double crochet underneath it into that hole. Okay? So we're going to double crochet twice underneath the chain, then we're going to crochet 1 chain, and then we're going to double crochet 2 more times underneath the chain into the same hole. Okay, so that is different from the previous row because we double crocheted twice, we did 1 chain, and then we double crocheted twice again, all into this hole underneath the chain. And then we're going to double crochet into the next stitch and just continue to double crochet until we get to the end of the row. So continue adding rows in the same exact process until you get to 7 rows total. And the way that I count it is just by counting from the middle outwards. So once you get to 7 rows, then we're going to move on to the next part. Then after that, we're going to start a new row and double crochet 37 times. So it should bring us around this area. So after you've done 37 double crochets, we're going to do a double crochet into the next 2 stitches, and so it's going to connect the next 2 stitches. Let me show you what that looks like. You're going to yarn over, go into the next stitch, grab the yarn, go into the next stitch, grab the yarn again, and then you're going to bring the yarn through 3 loops, and then you're going to bring the yarn through the last 2 loops. Then we're going to do the same exact thing into the next 2 stitches. So yarn over into the next stitch, grab the yarn, go into the next stitch, grab the yarn again. You should have 4 loops. Grab the yarn and bring it through 3 of them. Then grab the yarn one more time and bring it through the last 2. And then from there, we're going to go to the next row. So we're not going to complete this. We're going to leave it right at that stitch, and we're going to crochet 3 chains, turn over our work, and we're going to do the same exact thing that we just did in the previous row. So we are going to connect the next 2 stitches just the way that we did. So we're actually decreasing, and that's because we want it to make like a V shape. So we're going to yarn over, go into the next stitch, go into the next stitch, bring the yarn through 3 loops, and then bring the yarn through 2. Then we're going to do that one more time. So we're going to yarn over into the next stitch, go into the next stitch, bring it through 3 loops, through 2 loops. So as you can see, it's starting to do this nice little V shape here. Well, half of the V. And so then after that, we're just going to double crochet until we get to the bottom, and then we're going to come back up and do the same exact thing one more time. Alright, so once you come back up, once you get to the last 4 stitches in the row, this is where we're going to start to decrease again. So we're going to do the same exact thing that we did in the previous rows. So we're just going to yarn over, and this is where we're going to decrease by connecting the 2 stitches, and then we're going to decrease into the next 2 stitches as well. So when you finish that last stitch, right here we're actually going to close it off. So I'm just going to do 2 chains. Then I'm going to cut the yarn and then pull the yarn through and just secure it so that it's a really tight knot and it doesn't come undone. So what we just fastened off is the very middle of our top, so that's where the V is going to come down to. So from here, we're going to start building out the side of the top. So I'm going to start with a slip stitch on this very first double crochet. Do a simple slip stitch. Three chains, and then we're going to do 42 double crochets. So I placed a marker here to tell me when to stop. Once I've done 42 double crochets, the next 2 stitches we're going to decrease. So we're going to be connecting the next 2 stitches with 1 double crochet. And then we're going to do the same thing on the next row. So chain 3, and then the next 2 stitches is where we're going to do the decrease. So as you can see, it's starting to decrease. So that was 2 double crochets, and I'm going to do 14 more double crochets. So that is 16 total double crochets. Into the next stitch, we're going to do a single crochet. And then into the next stitch, we're going to do a slip knot. So just bring it right through there. And then from there, we're gonna chain 1, turn your work around, and into the next stitch, we're going to do a single crochet. And then into the next stitch, we're gonna do a double crochet. And then we're gonna continue to double crochet. It's gonna start to form like this V shape here. That's exactly what we want because for the most part, our bust is going to be wider than our waist. So you'll see as we continue to make the top that it's actually going to fit much better with this added width. So, and then we're just gonna continue to double crochet. Okay, so when you come up to the last 2 stitches in the row, we're also going to decrease here. So just the same as we did in the previous rows, we're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to continue to decrease in the same way that we did before. So chain 3, and then into the next 2 stitches, we will decrease. And then for this row, we're going to double crochet the entire row till we get to the end. So after the area where we added some width, I just did 2 whole rows of double crochets. So there were normal rows and I did decrease on the top. On this next row, I'm actually going to add more width again. So in the same way, like we always do, just adding a new row. And I'm also gonna continue to decrease, so I'm gonna connect the next 2 stitches through one double crochet, and then I'm going to crochet 14 more double crochets. So in total it'll be 16, the same way that we added width before. So I'm going to just double crochet 14 more, 15, 16. And then the next stitch I will do 1 single crochet. Then the next stitch I'm gonna do a slip knot just like I've done before. We're doing the same exact thing once again, okay? So then you crochet 1 chain, turn your work around, and then in the next stitch I'm gonna do a single crochet, double crochet into the next stitch, and just continue to double crochet all the way into the top, and we're still gonna decrease at the top. So as you can see, we added like another V that adds to the width of the bust, and right now it looks pretty weird, but as we add more double crochets, it's just gonna even out and you're not even gonna notice it's there. So I'm just gonna continue to add rows of double crochets. This next row is just going to be a normal row of double crochet, except I am going to continue to decrease right here. So I just decreased, and then from here on out, like for the rest of the row, I'm just gonna do double crochets, nothing special. Okay, so after adding that width here, I added 2 more rows of double crochet, and I continue to decrease. So this part right here is going to be under the armpit. And so now we're gonna start on more of the back area here. So from here on, every row of double crochet that we add, we're no longer going to decrease. So we're just going to double crochet like normal. So no more decreasing, just do a double crochet into every single stitch. And then from that point, I just continued to add rows of double crochet until I got to a total of 7 rows. So those 7 rows I did not decrease, I just double crocheted into each stitch. So from there, once you're done with that, then I just closed it off by crocheting 2 chains and then pulling the yarn through and cutting the yarn. And then afterwards, you're going to make one more piece just like this, and that's going to be the opposite side. Alright, now when you're making the other side, it's going to be the exact same pattern. The only difference is that when you're closing up this middle part, after decreasing here, we're going to chain 1, and just like the other side, we're going to cut the yarn, except we're going to cut the yarn longer. Okay, and this is because this yarn, we're actually going to use it to weave both sides together. So before I pull the yarn through, I'm cutting the yarn at 36 inches. And then after you cut it, you can just pull the yarn through and then just push down on the knot so it's secure. So you have one side with the long yarn and then one side without it. Okay, so you have one side with the long yarn and one side without it. If you forget to do that, that's okay. You're just gonna have to cut a piece and pretty much like tie a knot and then weave it together. But I find it easier just to leave this loose so that it's already ready when we're ready to do that. Alright, so we're just gonna continue making this the exact same as this side. So I'll be back when that's done. So here's mine, I already have it done. It's exactly the same. I did not finish it off here. I'm leaving the yarn connected for now because we're actually going to connect the middle here first. We're gonna connect this before I close this off because we're actually gonna use the yarn and go around the entire piece to finish it off and give it a clean edge. So just so I don't have to connect it again later, I'm just gonna leave it connected. So I'm just gonna leave a little paper clip there so it doesn't come undone. Right, so now we're actually gonna connect these 2 pieces right down the middle. So I'm gonna do this using a tapestry needle and this piece of yarn that we left connected. And we're gonna use this to make an invisible seam. So I'm just gonna thread my tapestry needle like that, and I'm gonna leave this end kind of short, and then here we're gonna place the 2 pieces side by side, and to make this invisible we're only gonna use the inside stitches. So you don't want to insert the hook all the way into the front. You don't want to do that. You want to insert the hook behind 2 stitches through the middle. Okay, so as you can see, I didn't insert it into the front. And then you're gonna do the same exact thing over here. And you want to try to line up the stitches together so that the same stitch on this side matches up with the same stitch on that side. And then you just pull this through, pull the yarn through, and you do want it to be snug, okay? You don't have to like hold it so tight so that it's like a knot, but you do want to like pull a little bit. Yeah, so our first stitch went from this side to that side. So now we're gonna come from this side to that side. So you're just gonna alternate like this, pretty much, like an S. Yeah. So you're just gonna place it right under those 2 stitches. After you've woven all the way from the top down to the bottom, here's where we're going to close it off. So I'm going to do my very last stitches. Alright, now to close it off, I'm just going to insert my hook into a stitch that's along the edge, because later on we're going to come in and do a little trim and it's going to cover it up. So I'm just going to insert it here. Alright. And then insert it again into another stitch. And we're just kind of making like a nice secure knot there. And after that, just make a knot, make sure it's really secure. And we're gonna come in next and do a trim along the whole thing. So once the two pieces are connected and everything's secure, we're gonna add a trim to like clean up all the edges to the whole piece. So we're gonna go back over here to where we left our yarn connected. So we're going to single crochet all throughout the bottom. So I'm just going to start off with one chain, and then I'm going to just start to single crochet. Once you single crochet across the entire bottom, you'll get to the corner, and to make the turn, you're going to single crochet into the last stitch 2 times. So that will turn your work, and then you're just going to single crochet all the way up the back. And on each corner, you're going to do the same exact thing. So 2 single crochets in each corner. Alright, so you're going to make your way all the way to the top here, and you're just going to single crochet like you normally would, except once you get to where we placed our chain in between the double crochets. So if you remember, there's 2 double crochets here, a chain, and then 2 more double crochets. Now what we're going to do, we're going to single crochet underneath that chain, and then we're going to add 1 chain in between and 1 more single crochet. Okay, and then just go back to single crocheting the way that you normally would. And then for the rest of the trim, you're just going to single crochet like you normally would until you get to the other side. And once you get to the same area, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to single crochet, add a chain, and then single crochet again underneath the chain. And then, yeah, just continue to single crochet. And when you get to the corner, do the same exact thing. And then we're going to close it off, and I'll show you how to do that. Right, so I just continued to single crochet until I got back to where I started. And then I single crocheted in the very last stitch. To close it off, I'm gonna connect the first stitch that I did with the very last. So I'm gonna turn it around and just insert my hook from the back into the very first stitch that I ever did. And then I'm going to take the loop that I was just working on and pulling it through to the back. So see how that connects that? And then from the back, I'm just going to crochet 2 chains. And then here's where you can just cut off your work. So I just cut it a few inches away, and then you just pull the yarn through. And then from there, you just push down the knot, and it leaves you with a pretty clean looking edge. Alright, for the next part, we're going to start on the straps. So I've cut 3 pieces of 115-inch strands of yarn, and I'm going to pull them through the chain space that we have at the top of the cup. The chain space is right under that one chain that's in between the double crochets. So once I pull them through and it's folded in half, I'll have 6 strands. And I'm going to separate those 6 strands into 2s. And those are going to be my strands for the braid. So once you have them separated, you're just going to start braiding as you would a normal braid. And the trick to braiding these straps is to make sure that your strands don't get tangled. They are very long, so every so often, just pull on the individual strands and untangle them as you go. And once you crochet all the way to the bottom, we're going to tie a knot, and that's going to create a little tassel. And then you can trim the tassel to be about 1 inch to 1.5 inches, whatever you prefer. And then repeat the whole process and create another strap on the other side. And then finally, the last step is to hide all the loose strands of yarn. So I'm just going to take my tapestry needle and feed in one of the loose strands. Then once my needle is threaded, I'm just going to insert the needle into some back stitches, and I'm going to push my needle through about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of stitches, and this is going to hide the yarn once I pull it through. So once you're ready, just pull it through. So now that yarn is secure, you can cut it off. And now just repeat that with every loose strand of yarn. So now I'm going to show you guys really quickly how I lace up the back. So I take one of the straps and I take this panel over here, and about 4 double crochet rows in, I take the very end where the tassel is and I pull it through from the outside in. And I do this right in between the trim and the double crochet right there. And then I do the same exact thing to the other side. The outside in, and pull it through. And then to make these straps stay in place, what I do, I just tie both of the straps here in the middle. Not a double knot, just like a regular tie. And then I take this side, this end, and this first row of double crochets, I'm gonna slip it right here at the top from the inside out. Okay. Then I'm gonna do the same exact thing here on the other side. Now from here, I'm going to cross them and place the ends pretty much through the opposite side. So I'm placing the ends through the opposite side. Same thing on the other side. And I'm doing this about every, I think it's 7 or 8 double crochets. So you can do it however you want. If you want a bigger gap, then you can separate the crossovers more. Or if you want it to be a smaller gap, then you can do it more often. So I'm just going to continue crossing them over to the opposite side. Just like that. And pulling them through. Now you might be wondering why it looks like I have holes here. They're actually just regular double crochets, but the more that you wear it, if you lace it up into the same area, it's gonna start to look like a hole. So I've worn this a few times and that's why it looks like that. It's completely adjustable, so you can adjust the straps however you want. You can adjust it so it's tighter on the waist. You can adjust it where the straps are tighter. It's completely up to you. Thank you guys all for watching. I appreciate every single one of you guys. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel for more DIYs. I recently made this tube top. It's got elastic on the top, so it fits really well. I made these bikini bottoms. They also have elastic. And then a matching bikini top. So if you guys are interested in more DIYs like that, go check out my channel and subscribe. Again, if you'd rather have the PDF version of this pattern, it's now available on my website. So I'll leave a link below. It's amandalovesantos.com, and I'll also leave a link below for anybody that wants to be a pattern tester. And before I leave, I have a quote for you guys. The creative adult is the child who survived. I have no idea who wrote that, but it's so true. Like, children are so creative, and why is that? It's because they don't care about what people think. They're not limited in their beliefs or in what they think they're capable of. They just do it. They're curious, they play. They're not afraid to just do something just for the fact that they enjoy doing it or because they're curious about how this could come out. We can all learn a lot from kids, and we were kids ourselves. Like, we were children at some point, and we used to be like that. And I think as we grow up, you know, we can lose that. We can lose our sense of playfulness, our sense of creativity. So it's definitely something to think about, and I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you guys choose to create something today and share it with me. I have an Instagram at Love Santos. So if you guys want to hit me up and show me what you guys made, I'd love that. So have a great day and bye!